It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye.
Hey everybody, it's Aaron from Got a Minute, and what we have here is the Got a Minute channel, and we're looking at the post area. So here's the home, here's the video, here's the shorts, here's the live, here's the playlist, and here's the posts. That's where I post some stuff. So I posted this yesterday, and this is 30 reasons why the church may very well rapture in 2025. So I've got the written copy there on the page, and here it is. So point number one, Adam. Adam has a value of Aleph, Dalet, and Mem. Adam equals 45 in Hebrew. So Adam times Adam is 2025. The value of Adam in Hebrew is 45. And so we can read about that in 1 Corinthians 15:22, 1 Corinthians 15:45, and Romans 5:12 through 21. The first Adam sinned, but the second Adam saves. So is it going to be 2025? We'll see. Point number two, Jacob at age 77 saw a dream of what I believe to be the rapture in Genesis 28. That was Jacob's ladder. I think it's the DNA of Christ. And we've got Jesus in the air and Jacob on the ground, and he calls it Bethel, which means house of God. And so will we be going to the house of God when Israel is 77? Because 2025 will be 77 years since Israel was declared a nation in May 14th, 1948. Next point, Israel will be 84 in 2032, and there are many prophetic parallels with the number 84. So here's a bunch of them here. Jacob was 84 years old when he married both Leah and Rachel in Genesis 29. I did a video on that, a few videos on that theme. Jacob worked for 7 years before marrying Leah and Rachel, a perfect parallel to Jacob's trouble. Jacob's name was changed in Genesis 32, maybe a slight hint to 2032 for Israel. Aaron, which is Moses' brother, he was consecrated at age 84 as high priest. You can check out those videos I did in the past about that. Will Jesus be consecrated as high priest when Israel is 84 years old? Next point, Anna, the prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher, was 84 years old when she gave thanks to the Lord at the temple and spoke about the redemption in Jerusalem. Anna's name, her father's name, and tribe name means happy and favored to see the face of God. Luke 2 is where it mentions all this, and you can dig into the meaning of her name through the Strong's Concordance. And so in this chapter, it's talking about her being married or whatever, or not married. I don't have the text with me right now, but there's a mention of 7 years. There's a mention of 12 years. Jesus was 12 years old when he was in the temple teaching. And then there's the mention of Anna being 84. So we've got the 7 and the 12 and the 84 all in one chapter. They say that Luke is written to the bride, or that's the idea. And so anyway, 7 times 12, 84 is a wonderful little hint there to this whole pattern that we're seeing. The fragments of the feeding of the 4,000, there were 7. And the fragments of the feeding of the 5,000, well, there were 12. And Jesus makes a point in Mark chapter 8. He goes, hey guys, how many leftovers from the 4,000? Pay attention, numbers are important. And they say 7. And he goes, how about the 12? And they respond 12. Or how about the 5,000? And they respond 12. So he's making a point for us to remember the 7 and the 12. Well, 7 times 12 is 84. 2032 perhaps? Next point, in the tabernacle of Moses, there is the 7-branch menorah and the 12 showbread. Well, we got a perfect 7 times 12 in the tabernacle of Moses. That's awesome. I think that's wonderful. Okay, the woman healed of 12 years of flow of blood and 12-year-old girl raised to life. There were 7 people present in the house when the girl was raised to life. You can read about that in Luke 8:40 through 56. If you count the people, including Jesus, you got 7 people in the home. And the girl was 12 years old who was raised to life, and the woman had 12 years of flow of blood issue. Well, 7 times 12 is 84. Perfect. Our anatomy. I just did a really recent video on this theme. Our anatomy of our body, it has 7 bones in our neck. Okay. And then we've got 12 pairs of ribs in the chest, and our chest could be an example of the tabernacle, like Moses. And it says that I just wrote here, the first 7 pairs of the 12 ribs connect to the sternum. And then the bottom 5 are independent. They're just connected to the spine. So there's 24 independent ribs. We could have maybe a connection to the 24 elders around the throne. 7 times 12. We have a 7 times 12. And another addition thing, Christ is the head and we are the body. The only way that the head connects with the body is the neck. So maybe there's something extra significant about the church, the 7 churches, connecting the head to Israel somehow at the second coming. Just a lot of fun with the numbers there. All right. Acts chapter 6, 1 through 7. The 12 summoned 7 to serve. We just got another plain 7 times 12 number pattern there, and that equals 84. 7 lampstands represent the churches. 12 tribes represent Israel. 7 times 12 is 84. Lots of fun there. As a potential second coming, we minus 7 years, 2025. Okay, next point. 2025 is the 77th year of Israel. Luke 3 gives us a genealogy from Jesus to God in 77 names. Well, how about that? Coincidence? I hope not. Psalm 84 speaks of dwelling in the house of God. It's got a lot of millennial kingdom, feelings in that psalm. Same thing with Psalm 132. A little hint to 2032 on the Gregorian calendar, and Psalm 84 connecting to the age of Israel. Anyway, so Psalm 132 speaks of Jesus dwelling among us in his millennial kingdom. It's very, very clear that it's certainly that theme of the Messiah coming and having his dwelling place with us. There are 84 independent chapters from Psalm 67 to 150 that are not duplicated in any other book of the Bible. So in other words, there's no other book that has chapter 67. So these are independent chapters from the rest of the Bible as a standalone. Just happens to be 84 of those. I think that's fascinating. Next point, just like the days of Noah and Lot, that's just a paraphrasing from Luke 17, but 8 saved on the ark and 4 saved in Sodom. Just that 8 and that 4, put them together, it looks like an 84. Or you could just add them up. 8 plus 4 is 12. Or you can multiply them. 8 times 4, that's 32. Pointing to the second coming. Either way you slice the cake, it all kind of works out really nice there. But 7 days they're on the ark before it rained, right? So 7 times 12 is 84. And 7 of every kind of animal, right? I don't remember the text right now, but some animals came by 7 and some 2 by 2. I can't remember the verses, but you guys can check that out. I think it's Genesis 7 area. Okay, next point. In Hebrew, Enoch has a value of 84. That's pretty perfect. Enoch, 7th from Adam, spoke of the second coming in Jude chapter 1, verse 14 through 15. That's pretty fascinating, and it's just before the book of Revelation. Perfect spot to put it. Next point, the name of God is coded in equidistant letter sequence, ELS, in the 77th verse of the Bible, Genesis 3:21, speaking of a covering for Adam and Eve. So there's an equal letter distance skip there. I can't remember the actual distance. It's either 7 steps or 10 steps where it's Yod, He, Vav, He. Yod, He, Vav, He. And it's in the verse where it's talking about Adam and Eve getting covered with animal skins. How about that? A slight little picture of the rapture. The next time we see a pattern with Yod, He, Vav, He is in the 84th verse when God accepts the offering of Abel. That's in Genesis 4, verse 4. So we have a pattern of Yod, He, Vav, He in 2025, or how it could connect to 2025 in the 77th verse. We have that another pattern. I think it's 11 steps, if I'm not mistaken. I did do a video on that, so you can check that out if you want, a few months ago on that theme. Okay, the next point here is the 84th Hebrew word in the Bible is heaven, H8064. This word is the one and only place where it starts a 70 ELS step pattern of the word moed, or moedim, or ha-moedim. This Strong's number is H4150. but it's easier understood when you see the actual text from my interlinear Bible that I've shared before. You can see every 70 letters it spells ha-modim, the moedim, the appointed time of the Lord. And it starts on the 84th word of the Bible. It's the only place in the Bible where you see this pattern. This word is particularly associated with God's appointed times. Will Jesus bring heaven to earth in the 84th year of Israel at the time appointed? Or in other words, will he come to rule and reign in the 84th year of Israel? I hope so. Next point, the life expectancy for people who live in Israel by 2032 is approximately 84 years of age. Well, how about that? I think it's like 84 point something, 84.4, something like that. That's great. Next point, many agree that 1406 BC was the year of crossing over the Jordan. Well, 490 times 7, we get this whole Jubilee pattern here. 1406 BC plus 3,430 years equals 2025. Is this the year of our release? We'll find out. Next point, many speculate that King David died between 971 BC and 969 BC. Well, a day is like 1,000 years according to 2 Peter 3:8. David, he's in the grave for 3,000 years, and Christ was in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights for the purpose of our salvation. So it would be so fitting that the second coming would be in 2032, and this is kind of the last year to really use this theory, because I've talked about this the last 2 or 3 years, but this is really the last opportunity to really use this theory. Jesus comes from the seed of David. We've got that Davidic covenant. I think it's in it's either in 2 Samuel or 1 Samuel, in that area, where the Messiah is promised to come from his seed. And so, anyway, that's a wonderful theory, and time's running out on that for that to be used. Okay, next point. Many speculate Christ died between 30 and 33 AD. Hosea 6 verse 2 talks about that. After 2 days he will revive us, and on the third day he will lift us up. The cross plus 2,000 years could, in fact, lead to a 2032 second coming. We'll see about that. Next point. Israel has never passed 80 years as a sovereign nation in history. If Israel flees to the wilderness in 2028 or 2029 at the midpoint, whenever that might be, this would follow the prophetic pattern. Remember, pattern is prophecy. If you see it once and you see it twice, it might happen a third time. In fact, there's more chance of that happening. Okay, Psalm 77, next point. As it relates to 2025, has rapture themes in it. Psalm 77, 16 through 20, and Exodus 19, 16 through 19, and 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. It's all rapture theme. Psalm 77 is talking about the thundering and the voice of the Lord and speaking. And Exodus 19 on Shavuot, Pentecost, Feast of Weeks, is the same thing. God is speaking, and there's thunder and there's sounds like a trumpet. It's like very loud. And 1 Thessalonians, Jesus comes with the sound of a trumpet on Rapture Day. So we got this really strong theme in Psalm 77 as it could relate to this year, and it kind of points to a particular feast. We'll see. Next point. Song of Solomon points to a spring-summer rapture. The green figs in particular in Song of Solomon, chapter 2, 10 through 13, particularly point to Feast of Weeks with this fig crop called the Bekura. It's called the Bariba crop, actually, but the Hebrew word is Bekura. Well, Leviticus 23:17, the word for first fruits is Bekur, H1061, and the root word of that is Bekar, which is H1069. That word Bekar is to burst the womb, or in other words, to give the birthright, to make firstborn, bring forth first child. That's the meaning of Bekar. So this word first fruits is really like a child being born. And it's also associated with the green figs. There's a very specific window of time. Well, that green fig in Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 13 in particular, it kind of ties back to this particular word, because that's what you call these crops in the spring. Figs are produced twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And this spring harvest is called the Bekura. So really strong ties there. The theme of the rapture is a child being born. and being presented to the Father. That's really the whole theme of the rapture, and it's also the theme of Jacob's trouble. It's like a woman in travail. So this verse, Leviticus 23:17, is really the domino, I think, for understanding the rapture and understanding Jacob's trouble. Anyway, we'll move on. The next point, the value of Neuralink in Greek is 666, and the system is coming. So we've got to be going. We got to get out of here soon. It's right around the corner. Next point, there are talks of making Palestine an independent state as early as June 2025. Joel 3 comes to mind. Uh-oh. So my last statement here on the community wall or the post is, although we do not know the exact day and hour of the rapture or the second coming of Christ, I am watching Sunday, June 8th, 2025, which is Pentecost, Feast of Weeks, Shavuot, as the potential rapture of the church. Although much of what I have shared point to this year being the potential year of the rapture, I'm convinced that the best candidate for the rapture is Feast of Weeks of any given year. I believe we are presented to the Father because of Leviticus 23:17. That's the core of it. By Jesus, our high priest. I think we're the two wave loaves. I think the leaven is actually a representation of the influence of Christ and the transformation of Christ in our lives. Matthew 13:33 talks about that. Heaven is like 3 loaves of leaven. I'm paraphrasing, but Matthew 13:33. So in this case, we're not presenting sin to God. We're presenting our transformed bodies, and these 2 wave loaves represents our bodies, I believe, being transformed by the teachings of Christ. And anyway, that's really the ticket right there. I think Leviticus 23:17 is the game changer, in my opinion. If this day passes this year, we'll be back to the drawing board, as I will be looking at Feast of Weeks 2026 as the best possible next candidate. I sure hope the rapture is this year, but it's all in the Lord's hands. Go, Jesus, go. Come, Jesus, come. And yours truly, Brother Aaron from Guy Minute. So yeah, if you want that, if you want to share that with anybody, if you want to read it through it, and if I've missed anything that would tie to this year, please leave it in the comment section, either under this video or underneath the community post. And either way, guys, we are one day closer, and that's it. So see you in the clouds, and go, Jesus, go.